Welcome to Psychology Pub. Like and subscribe for more great videos. 9 ways to self-discipline. Self-discipline. It's a word that may be on the tip of your tongue, but hard to define. To some, it means being able to do things without thinking about them too much. For others, it might mean not procrastinating or being lazy. But what does self-discipline really mean? I've had my fair share of trouble with this issue in the past, so I decided to do some research and find out. Before we jump into the video, I'd like to remind you to please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out a lot. Thanks in advance. 1. Assign responsibility. If you want to be self-disciplined, then there are some things that you will need to take responsibility for. You can't just blame someone else or the situation when something goes wrong. When I was at school, I used to leave my homework until the last minute because it was easier than planning and doing it beforehand. This is not a good way to be self-disciplined. If you can't get your homework done by the end of the day, then take responsibility and do it in double time after school or during lunchtime. If my parents hadn't reminded me when I got home from school that night, my grades would have dropped drastically because I had to procrastinate. As it was, I still had to do the work, but at least I wasn't as far behind as if my parents hadn't told me. Don't wait until you're 30 and wondering where all your time went. Take responsibility now for what you want later on in life. You could be self-disciplined with schoolwork, housework, and your goals if you just take responsibility for what happens in the present. 2. Imagine how you want to feel. When you are struggling with self-discipline, it's easy to get down on yourself. But what does this achieve? It doesn't help in the short term, that's for sure. Instead, try imagining how great it will feel when you do have self-discipline. This may mean picturing your favorite celebrity or someone who inspires you, like your favorite author or a successful business person. Try to imagine what they would do if someone told them not to procrastinate, and how happy they might be for doing something difficult. The more you can visualize the future, the easier it will become for you. This is one of my favorite ways that I used when I struggled with self-discipline. I would visualize myself doing well on exams, getting my homework done quickly, and even seeing what kind of grades I might get. It motivated me to work hard because I knew that the rewards for being self-disciplined were worth it. 3. Get out of your comfort zone. Self-discipline is often about going outside your comfort zone, but that can be a scary place to go. When you get into the mindset that everything will happen when it happens, there's no motivation to work hard. But what if life were more like a video game? In this scenario, getting good grades and being self-disciplined would be like completing a level. If you complete the first few levels without too much trouble, then it makes sense to go on to more difficult ones because they're rewarded with extra points. This idea can also work for changing your habits. If you want to stop eating junk food every day and start exercising regularly instead, then getting yourself into a routine of going to the gym a few times a week would be like completing an easy level. If you can do that, then it makes sense to go on to a more difficult level where you might have to exercise several times a day or even give up the junk food altogether. The point is, don't feel too down on yourself when you find something hard. Just think about how great it will feel when you do finally complete the level or habit and move on to something even more difficult. 4. Set goals and allow yourself a favor or reward when they're met. This is a really simple idea that can be very powerful in helping you to develop self-discipline. What kind of reward would motivate you? What kinds of favors might make it easier for you when things get tough? If your goal is to lose weight, then maybe setting yourself the target of buying something new to wear or going out with friends once you've achieved this goal might be easier for you. Or maybe if your goal is to study better, then setting yourself the target of watching a movie or playing one game on your computer when you have finished all your work could help. It's up to each person what works best, but having an idea in mind certainly helps. I think this is one of the best ways to boost self-discipline because it gives you permission to do something nice for yourself once you've worked hard. For me personally, I always used to feel guilty when I was being selfish by doing something that wasn't schoolwork or housework. But if there are targets set, then it is much easier to stay motivated. 5. Sit down once per evening and write down 3 good things that happened today. One of the most powerful ways that I have heard to develop self-discipline is by starting your day with a positive attitude and ending it in much the same way. If you do this, then if anything goes wrong during the day, and things will go wrong, you can turn those negatives into positives again. This may seem simple, but it is actually a very powerful way of thinking that can really help you stay motivated when things get tough. It's also useful because writing down 3 good things that happened during the day, they're more likely to happen again tomorrow. This might seem like an odd thing, but I used this method all throughout college and university, and my grades were always better after the summer holidays when I had used this technique. According to Sean Acker, a positive psychology researcher at Harvard University, in his book, The Happiness Advantage, writing down 3 good things that happened during the day also has dramatic effects on your overall happiness. So not only is it an effective way of boosting self-discipline, but it also has the added bonus of making you happier. 6. Pick a goal. Focus on it every day, for half an hour or more at a time. Many people achieve great things in life because they have focused on them for a long time. This is just as true for developing self-discipline, so it's important to set goals if you really want to improve your abilities. The trick here is not only setting the goal, but also focusing on it every day. If you don't focus on it every day, then you create a void that will need to be filled at some point. If the goal is not one that requires daily attention, losing weight, things like that, then focusing on this for a half an hour or more every single day can help you stay motivated and keep your eye on the prize. I have used similar techniques to help me study for exams, by focusing on the subject every day and reviewing my notes. Not only does this keep you motivated, but it also helps reinforce the material in your mind. 7. Turn off all radios, TVs, and phones. One of the biggest distractions in life is social media and other forms of entertainment. To stay motivated, it's important to cut these things out completely for a certain amount of time each day. Otherwise, you will find that they become an addiction. I like this technique because it forces me once per day, at least, to focus on what I'm doing at that moment. Of course, when you go back onto the TV or phone or radio, then it may be a good idea to keep your mind and body focused by continuing with whatever you were working on before. 8. Reward yourself with something small after. One of the best ways to stay motivated when you're trying to improve your self-discipline is by rewarding yourself for hard work. This can be anything from an hour off in front of the TV with a cup of tea, or sitting down and playing on your phone. It's important to make the reward something achievable, because if it's too big, then you will not stay motivated long enough to achieve your goal. The trick here is to pick a small, enjoyable task that you can complete after doing whatever it is that needed self-discipline. Whether this means spending a half an hour writing blog posts or coming up with new ideas for the business, it's important to sit down and relax when you finish whatever needs doing. 9. Sit down once per evening and write down 3 good things that happened today. This is another version of the first tip. Like I said earlier, even if your day has been terrible, it's important to reflect on what went well. These 3 things don't need to be earth-shattering, but without reflecting, you will never know how much good happened throughout the day, which can help you stay motivated for tomorrow. Writing them down is an easy way to ensure they are kept in your memory and not forgotten. Conclusion. Before the video ends, I'd like to share a quote with you on the subject. One of my favorite quotes is from Jim Rohn, who said, "Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune." If there's anything else that has helped you to improve self-discipline, then please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more great videos from Psychology Pub.